What's up, everybody? Happy Forks Friday. It's your boys, Cory and Steven here. Steven, how's your Friday, my friend?
My Forks Friday is going fantastically. Happy Friday the 13th. It's my luckiest number, so I am so lucky to be here with all of you here today. Please give a shout where you are tuning in from. It's always a pleasure to see you and to chat with you. How about you, Cory?
I'm awesome. I'm not sure what I'm doing this weekend, but I know yard work is involved, so that's going to be good. For our friends watching on Facebook and YouTube, we want to let you know that you might see me look off to the side right here is because I'm talking to our friends over at Instagram. So what's up, y'all? We got some people tuning in from Tampa, and then over here we got a lot of people chiming in the comments. Pat is from California, so a lot of good people coming in, and we're excited about that. So yeah, Steven, I'm doing great, man. I mean, I'm excited about this one because it's a new freebie that we can give away to help people on their journey on a whole food, plant-based lifestyle.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, fill me in. How do we come up with this? And what is the stance as far as like Forks takes on reading nutrition labels?
You know, I think what's most important is we are looking to just simplify everything, right? Whether you are in this lifestyle already or whether you are learning it, and especially if you're learning it for the first time, we are here to provide information, guidance, and support to simplify things. And Cory, when it comes to nutrition labels, I mean, there's a lot of information there. We really want to demystify the whole practice of needing to know each and everything. What are the most important things to key into so that you can make the healthiest, the best choices for you? And Cory, what I love about all of these lives that we do is, besides the information we give, and especially the foundational stuff from Forks Over Knives, is we're also say, hey, take it easy on yourself. There's no such thing as a perfect decision here. There's no such thing as a perfect label here. And what we talk about today is really going to help to bring extra ease and less stress when you happen to be buying foods that have labels on them.
It's so true. I want to just go ahead and let you guys know that how to get this freebie. We just send it right to your inbox. The way to do it is just comment. Whether you're watching on Instagram, you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, we have a bot built. It's an automated bot. It's not a human being. And this bot is triggered by using one word, and the word is label, L-A-B-E-L. If you comment on this video, or if you're watching on IG Live, and you want to comment with the word label, we'll send you our nutrition guide we put together for you. It's a nutrition label guide, and it's totally free, no shady, weird stuff. We're not going to spam you or anything like that. We just want to send it to you so you can have it.
You know, we do have a good morning from my mom in Lower Makefield, Pennsylvania. And the fun thing today, especially for anyone who tunes into the lives and usually recognizes my background, is my background does not represent my home. I am also here in Lower Makefield, Pennsylvania with said Mother Ruth Goldberg Smith tuning in. Hello, Mom. And
incredible.
You are. Hello, Mom. She's right over there.
She tell her she's using the bandwidth on your internet, but
I know. As long as my video and audio stays good, then we are good. Otherwise, it's all you.
Good. You sound good. You look good. Everything's good. So
thank you. Well, so let's dive in. Let's dive into the basics, right? First off, and this comes as no surprise to anyone here, when we talk about a whole food, plant-based diet, focus on foods without labels. We are talking about those one ingredient foods. We're talking about your broccoli, your bananas, your tomatoes. We're talking about the foods that you can purchase that don't have a label specifically with those nutrition facts and a bunch of different ingredients on it. Focus on whole plant foods. If you can make up the majority of what you're eating with those whole plant foods, we're talking the whole kingdom of fruits. We're talking the whole kingdom of vegetables and beyond. Then you are going to be in good shape. You're going to be having a high nutrient dense and hopefully a lower calorically dense diet. And that is going to cover, especially a lot of the things that we talk about today when we get into more of the minimally processed foods that have labels. So load up on those potatoes, those sweet potatoes, those other starchy veggies. That is rule number one. And in that case, we don't even have to talk about anything else, but we will. We do a lot of collaborations with dietitians, with nutritionists, with doctors and others in the plant-based healthcare world. When you go on forksoverknives.com, you find a lot of articles that are written by doctors, dietitians, and nutritionists. And so with that, we have one specifically, Jeff Novick, a registered dietitian. One of the big things he says is don't believe anything you read on the front of a package. Now, there are certain things obviously that are okay, but he really wants to tune you into don't believe everything that you read on the front of a package. There's a lot of marketing that goes into everything. You're going to see a lot of big letters, flashy things like the old school Batman, Cory, right? So bam, pow, smash. You're going to see, free of this, less that, and whatever. And it's somewhat okay that it says that if it can back it up with some of the things that we will talk about later today. So if you are wowed by beautiful print, cool fonts, and especially some really interesting looking claims, just make sure that you keep watching because we're going to go a little bit further, how to corroborate that, how to back that up. Two main things, Cory, that we see on nutritional label, on our packaged goods, right? Whether it's a can or whether it's a box, we're going to see an ingredient list and we're going to see the nutrition facts.
Okay.
Let's start with the ingredients, right?
Yeah.
First thing I said, we're focusing on whole plant foods. So when we look at the ingredients, we want to do our best to at least match those up with a lot of those foods that we see. Cory, I'm sure you've seen a ton of different labels that just have dozens and dozens of ingredients that you can't even pronounce. Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
So we want to key into the things that, first off, are simple, that make sense, and we'll go from there. So rule number one, overall, we want to take a look at ingredient lists that generally are short. I'm going to give a couple of examples where there are lists of longer things, but they are the right types of ingredients. But if you can take a look at an ingredient label and see few items, number one, it's going to be simpler for you because we're going shopping. We don't have time to peruse through everything. We're going to take that time because we want to make sure that we are getting the right things in our bodies. So see if the label has fewer ingredients. The next thing is we're going to be purchasing a lot of things that have different types of grains, different types of flours by chance. And a lot of these might be refined or more highly processed grains or flours. So you are looking for the word whole. Again, it is that big W in whole food, plant-based. So we're looking for whole wheat. We are looking for whole grain. If you can see a 100% next to it, that makes it even better. But most of the time now, Cory, and especially what I'll be showing you with some of actually our Forks Over Knives frozen food packages as a reference point, when you look for that whole word, that means you are going to be getting something with a grain or a flour that is going to be appropriate for you. And another one of those final things just to take a look for, we're looking for no oil. If there's oil in there, it's going to be higher fat. That's a highly processed item. And we're looking for minimal to no added sugars. Take a look for any of the words that end in ose. That's O-S-E. That's glucose, high fructose or fructose. We have maltose. So if we can avoid those and keep looking for ingredients with foods that at least go, oh, I know what that is, then we're in good shape. And we'll talk about a few other different options with plant milks that we talk about later. Cory, how does that sound? Does that sound like we're simplifying things?
It sounds great, and I'm excited for you to talk about plant milks because I have an aunt in my family. This aunt on my wife's side, she was a heart patient. She had a serious heart, episode or whatever you want to call it. She had a surgery, a stent put in, stuff like that. And she's changed her diet, everything, the way she eats, her lifestyle. She's all plant-based now. But I was telling her, you got to get the unsweetened, plant-based milk. And she was like, yeah, but let's take it a step further. Did you know that there's oil in some of these plant-based milks? And I'm like, what? My mind was blown. And I kid you not, it was the Silk Milk brand. I pulled it out of my fridge and I looked at it and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I switched. There's another brand out there called Planet Oat. And then our friends over at Plant Strong, they have their Plant Strong milks that they've released on Amazon. So go get them and support Rip Esselstyn and the whole Esselstyn family.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you've got to be aware because the hidden things in some of these foods, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah. And I really think that's the thing. When it comes to, we're not going to get too technical about the FDA and the USDA, but the thing is there's a lot of claims. There are a lot of things that are allowed on these labels that aren't necessarily for our own good health-wise. And if that is matched up with a health claim that is on the front, we usually say, I can trust, I don't need to look further. the time that you take to just do these basic perusals. We're not talking about reading, 700 pages of a book. We're talking about where you can just zoom in to the ingredient list, and we'll be talking about those nutrition facts, the most important parts, so you don't have to read all of them. That's going to help you in the long run, because when we get those whole foods, we're putting them right in the cart. When we're getting the packaged foods, the cans and the boxes, just taking a look at everything will be good. So for your aunt, Cory, and for everyone else out there, with plant milks, we can go pretty simple. We hope that you can find a plant milk around you, or one that you can order that really just includes 2 or 3 ingredients. The main ingredient, whether that's soybeans or maybe almonds and water. And it's possible, it's out there.
So, you're riffing, man, and you sound like absolutely incredible. So I got to let you know that the people on Instagram that are with me right here, somebody said, who is this gentleman that we're listening to? I'd like to follow him as well. I'm trying to transition to a plant-based lifestyle. Well, Broker 205, I'm going to tell you right now, that is Steven, the customer success manager over at Forks Over Knives. And he is a wealth of knowledge and an awesome dude. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to forksoverknives.com and then just peruse what you got going on. You're going to see a pop-up for a plant-based beginner's guide. Then all you do is just enter your information. We're going to send that to you for free too. In fact, I think there is a trigger word for that as well. If you want to comment with the word guide, we will send you our guide to plant-based beginners. But what we're talking about right now, of course, and what Steven is so eloquently talking about, because he does so much work and research for you guys for these episodes, is labels, nutrition labels. So if you comment with the word label, that will send you the nutrition guide from our bot. It is an automated bot. And then also with the word guide, we will send you our plant-based guide for beginners. So much love to you guys on IG. And we kicked that troll guy out, guys. We kicked him out. There's a troll over here, Steven. I had to get him out.
You know what's great about over here on Facebook? No trolls. Facebook and YouTube, we have a nice, loving, clean community over here. So many people are commenting guide and label. We are excited to send them to you. And we even have some people who are a little surprised. What, oil and milk? Yes. It is one of those things that's just there. So that's one of the things you want to look for. If you can find a plant milk with no oils, no emulsifiers, it's a big word, and no gums. Those are going to be the ingredients where you take a look at and you go, what is this? We do see some gums like xanthan gum and guar gum that's in there. If you can ultimately avoid, and again, we're going for as best as possible, right? Not perfection, but when you can find those plant milks with 2 or 3 ingredients, just the main one in the water, with minimal processing. We're not including extra plant proteins in there. We are just looking for those solid, simple ingredients, no oils, no emulsifiers, no gums. And if you can go for 0 added sugar or minimal added sugar, you're going to be in good shape with a plant milk. And Cory, I'll probably say this again later on, but I do want to throw this out there now as we talk about all these different things and all of a sudden it becomes a course. Again, we're going for progress, not perfection. And in many of these cases, you're going to find some foods, some packaged items that maybe are, let's say, 75 to 90% great. They check off almost every box, maybe except for one. And another one that'll check off all of those other boxes, but there'll be a different one that just doesn't meet these criteria that we're sharing. If you are eating primarily a whole food plant-based diet, and you're focusing on the majority of the food you take in to be from whole plant foods, when it comes to these packaged items here or there, give yourself a little bit of space. We do not want to limit you to the point where you say, this is so restrictive. We want to give you the information to make sure you're making the best decisions for your health. And if you do need to make a little accommodation here or there for something that just doesn't check off 100% of the boxes, see if you can check off as many of those boxes as possible.
Love it. So friend, what I'm doing now is I'm literally showing your face on Instagram. I'm holding my phone. It's right here. You can't see it, but now you can. And then my face is right here. And people are like, I can't hear anymore. I can't hear. It was because my finger was literally covering the microphone on my own phone.
Oh, Cory.
So, listen, folks, we're here now. You're good. They heard the majority. They're telling me they're so wonderful. They're like, dude, I can't hear him. And I removed my finger and now they can hear just fine.
You know what? Luckily, when I enunciate, my mouth is so big that I think people can read my lips, whatever I'm saying. You don't need to hear me, although I appreciate those who are soothed by the sound of my voice. Cory, what do you say we jump from the ingredient label to the nutrition facts, and then we show everyone some examples so that we can really put things into effect? Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. Someone said you sound exactly like Dr. Michael Greger, though. I had to tell you that.
Thank you for that compliment. I don't have a treadmill right now to walk on while I'm doing this live. Dr. Greger is way ahead of the game because I still will have to get my exercise in later. Why am I not doing it now? So thank you for that compliment. Dr. Michael Greger is a pioneer. He is epic in the whole food plant-based community. So I will take that as a compliment. That makes now all of a sudden I'm not just that awesome guy, but that wealth of information that you shared, Cory.
Yeah.
I can actually believe it from myself too. That's great.
Heck yeah, dude. Way to go. Way to
So
go.
let's go to nutrition facts. Let's go to nutrition facts. I'm going to talk you through the basics, and then our amazing Fleming behind the scenes and with some of the boxes that I have on me right here, we're going to actually look at nutrition labels so that we can make sense of it. There are really only a few things you need to take a look at to make sure that you are not spending hours at the grocery store. Number one is going to be fat. Now, on the labels, we're often going to see the whole per serving setup. It shows all the percentages, the nutrients, the milligrams of this and that. Let's simplify. Whatever it says for the total fat. Now, I'm a math guy myself. We're not going to get too mathy here, but a little math can go a long way. You're going to go for the total fat. You're going to multiply it by 9. So if you have your phone on you or if you got your calculator in your head, you are all set when you're at the grocery store. Multiply it by 9, divide it by the total calories that it says. And what's great about that is you're going to see those total calories in very, very large print. So that number will be easy to find. And that total fat number will also be one of the top numbers on the nutrition facts label. And then you're going to get a decimal, multiply it by 100 to get your percentage of calories from fat. The general recommendation is to aim for 15% or less from fat. And when it comes to foods that are following a lot of the things that we talked about, no oils, generally whole ingredients or very, very minimally refined ingredients, you're going to be falling into that right boat. Now, when we are buying things like breads, crackers, cereals, and some other minimally processed foods, the fat content may be a little bit higher. If we can still check off all the boxes we talked about before, and the fat percentage is just a little bit higher, we're still in good shape. Cholesterol is the next one. You're going to see cholesterol. And here's the thing. We're not focusing on animal products and animal foods. We are focusing on a whole plant and minimally refined plant food options. So that cholesterol should say 0 in it. If it does not say 0, if it says a number other than 0, take a look at those ingredients again. Take a look to see if there are any animal foods in there. And that's something that we didn't talk about specifically, but look for any types of dairy, any types of cheese, any eggs, or anything like that. To swing back around, no, I'll get to that later. Sodium. Sodium's the next thing, Cory. Yeah. The USDA, I think, says 2,300 milligrams is like that high upper limit. So if we were to take that and say, we generally don't want to go above that, but we don't want to track each and every milligram of sodium. If you're buying a processed food, a packaged or canned item, you really want to make sure that the milligrams of sodium do not exceed the calories per serving. So when you take a look at that sodium number in the milligrams and you took a look at that big number, the calories per serving, you want to see if you can match up a 1-to-1 ratio. That sodium should be less than those calories. And if it is more, you really want it to just be a little bit more. You don't want it to double those calories, and you do not want it to go above that. That means we are taking in an excess of sodium, especially for the amount of calories that we're eating. And the final thing, we talked about this, sugar. We're aiming for low sugar or no sugar if possible.
Is there a difference in your opinion? And guys, we are not dietitians or nutritionists. We're just dudes that know how to do this whole food plant-based thing. I've raised 3 kids on a whole food plant-based diet, and Steven has transitioned himself and also his wife to a whole food plant-based diet. In fact, I think it's the other way around, right, Steven? Your wife pretty much transitioned you.
I had a former partner who planted the initial seed that started me on my plant-based journey. And then my current wife and I are both plant-based and doing it together.
It's awesome, man. Awesome. Well, a couple of people are mentioning different apps and things of that nature, and a lot of different apps are wonderful in helping you read labels for sure. So check the comments. There's a lot of different apps. I mean, Forks has their own app as well, which is really great as far as like finding recipes that all qualify under these parameters.
And what I think is great is probably the apps that people are sharing. And feel free, Cory, if you see any that people are mentioning, and put any in the comments, everyone who's watching. If you use a specific app that helps you really navigate through reading those labels, share it here. Because again, we want to bring you ease and convenience. What allows you to do this the quickest and the easiest.
Yeah.
But
that's
what it's all about.
There's one that's huge, and I use it. It's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A.
Okay.
And I mean, Instagram's going crazy over it. It's true, guys. It is a free app. It is crowd funded, which means that, you know, you just pay what you want. And I know Julie, the CEO of that company, and she's a mom, and she started this app. The app is incredible. So yeah, you can scan everything in the store and just kind of decide for your family, like what's the most important for you. It'll tell you, hey, this is a little high in sodium per hour, you know, parameters. They're not funded by any kind of, you know, brand or anything like that. So they're not biased. It's just factual info, kind of like what we're giving you here as well.
Yeah. Now, all the information that we're sharing here today and that you can find on the Forks Over Knives website, that you can find in your guide if you specifically comment label to get the free guide. We also do have Forks Frozen Foods. And we, of course, want to abide by this as much as possible. So why don't we take a look at that? I have a couple of frozen foods over here. We have our sesame ginger fancy veggies and rice. We also have our Tuscan garden penne. Check them out. Sprouts carries them. A lot of other markets around carry them. And on the website, you can find out some more information to see if any stores or markets around you do carry them. Fleming, do you happen to have the ingredient list for the sesame ginger fancy veggies and rice? If you do, and you might be able to pull it up, there we go. Amazing. And it's right here on the back of the box, but you can probably see it here on the screen a little bit more. Let's take a look at the right with those ingredients. We have cooked brown rice, water, broccoli, carrots, asparagus, red bell pepper strips. I'm going to let everyone just kind of scroll at their own way. My mouth can move fast and I can just auctioneer all of these ingredients. But we are taking a look at ingredients and ultimately can say, okay, there is no oil in here. We're not seeing any extra emulsifiers, gums. We're not seeing, specifically a ton of added sugars. But when we refer to the nutrition facts, we'll take a look at what is there. And at the very bottom, this is one thing that I also wanted to add. And a great way to find out, is a packaged or canned food plant-based, or does it include animal products for sure? Where it says contains in the bottom, that bottom bolded area, you're going to find all of the major allergens there. Specifically in this, we have soy, we have sesame, we have coconut. If you do have those allergies, I apologize. This is probably not the best option for you. But in the contains, it'll say contains dairy. It'll say contains eggs. So if you look through the ingredients and you say, this looks good, and you get to the bottom where it says contains and you see dairy or eggs, milk or eggs rather, I think it would say, then you might want to take a look. There might be an ingredient with a hidden animal product in there. So look through the ingredients, look at that bottom to do that final confirmation with what it contains. So when we put all of those ingredients together, we get those nutrition facts right over there. This is 350 calories per serving. It's 1 serving per container. So let's go through everything we talked about. Total fat. We have 6 grams of fat. I'm going to pull out my calculator and I'm going to do the work. 6 divided by 9. 6 times 9. 6 times 9. We're going to divide it by the total calories, 350. And then I'm going to multiply by 100. And that is going to bring up actually 15.4. This is right technically at that higher end of what we would say when it comes to packaged foods that as far as fat goes. Here's a great one. And Cory, I love that we're doing it with this because all of these ingredients are the ingredients that you want to include. Yeah. And we don't have any of the excess highly processed stuff in there. That's knowing right. That this is on technically that higher side of calories from fat, we probably have a lot more leeway because we're focusing on those right foods, those nutrient dense foods. When we find something that's more heavily processed and we're going to the 15, 20, 25% fat, that is going to be more of an X than a green check mark. The sodium, it says 350 milligrams. Perfect. 350 milligrams, 350 calories. That is a perfect 1-to-1 ratio. You're getting 1 milligram of sodium per every 1 calorie. And that is what we want to go for. Now, if that sodium was double that, let's say it said 600 or 700 milligrams, it's one we generally would not advise, or at least you would know this is on the high sodium side for your own reference. The added sugars, only 5 grams of added sugars. So that's really not too much. If it starts to get up there to double digits and beyond, please know, again, for your reference, that's just going to be extra added sweetener. And cholesterol, that's right in the middle, says 0 milligrams. And everything at Forks Over Knives, whether it's our food products or the recipes that we share, will be 0 milligrams of cholesterol.
Awesome. Holy cow, this is great information. And thanks for doing this. You know, a lot of people are asking about organic, Stephen.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to give you a chance to, I don't even know if you can answer that, because it's not like you're the formulator or the, sorry guys on the sound, I have my finger over the darn thing again. So I know you're not the formulator of the actual product itself, but can you talk about like maybe Forks' stance on organics?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go back to the very first thing we said, and that's the foundational. If you're focusing on whole plant foods, from there, it can extend wherever you would like to go. When it comes to organics, there are so many benefits that are part of it. That's probably a whole extra live, and there's probably someone else, an expert, who could talk a little bit more in depth about specifically those benefits of an organic item, whether we're talking about health, whether we're talking about the processing process, whether we're talking about the environment. I think that there are a lot of potential benefits that are there, but because I do not know the full specifics, I won't go into them. If you are shopping conventional or organic, but focusing on whole plant foods, you're heading in the right direction. Progress, not perfection. If organic is something that you can do when it comes to your produce and or when it comes to your minimally refined and processed canned and packaged goods, fantastic. I think that is a great step to take. It is not a necessity if it is not available to you. Don't let that be a limitation if you're finding more local things. And shopping local is also really, really great. Supporting your farmers markets that are around is a really great thing too. So local, I think, can be really great. Organic can also be really great. Don't let it be a limitation to a whole food plant-based diet. I think that is the overall stance that Forks tries to share as much as possible.
Yeah, I think there's levels to this, guys. There's levels to this in the sense that we could be talking to someone right now that eats fast food 7 days a week. And so they actually believe that the fries that they're getting from the window are actually, potatoes. They used to be, they might have been potatoes, but they've been deep fried in oil and they've had other additives added to them and things of that nature, right? And so are we going to make that person go from French fries from a fast food restaurant all the way to, greenhouse grown organic potatoes, cut up and put it in an air fryer, that they will either do it that way or don't do it at all? No, we don't want that. But if we can get that person to just consider eating a potato, baking a potato, and cover it with a wonderful whole food plant-based cheesy sauce that is on the Forks Over Knives website, then we will have won. And organic is important, and everybody's got to make their own decisions on what's the most important to them. There's no doubt there's harmful chemicals and things that are sprayed on, fruits and veggies. We are big fans of that, but we want to make sure we're talking to everyone. And so, keep doing the best job you can for you. And, I want to remind everyone too, that's watching on Instagram and also here, there's two words that you can trigger our bot to send you some free guides. If you're a beginner, just comment with the word guide and we will send you our whole food plant-based guide for beginners. If you are more into what we are here for, which is talking about labels and nutrition, just comment with the word label and we'll send you that right to your inbox. You just tell us where to send it. So, Stephen, man, this has been a really well-informed episode. Thank you so much for organizing your thoughts and putting all this together. You always come prepared with absolutely wonderful info. And I know that everyone watching here on IG and then also here on Facebook and YouTube, they really appreciate it. I'm going to speak on behalf of them.
Amazing. Well, thank you from them, Cory. Thank everyone for joining. It means a lot to us. Otherwise, Cory and I would just be talking to each other into a camera with no one else here. And that does no good for anybody. So the fact that you are dedicating at least some of your time this morning to come, to learn, to connect, and to also receive these wonderful, wonderful resources that we love making, that means a lot to us. So you're only going to get the best from us. And thank you for being the best to us, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Fleming, take us out, my friend.